Hi guys, this is a video about the word panic. I'm panicking, I'm worried, yeah, that kind of feel like when you're doing your driving lesson. I met somebody today who's already been for her driving test. I've never met her personally before, but she's been to a driving test, so she's been through the whole thing and she nearly made it, right? But I'm now her driving instructor. So anyway, as I was discussing with her about what we were going to do on the lesson, it transpires that she doesn't like meeting traffic very much when the parked cars are on both sides of the road, right? And we did decipher that she doesn't like the person behind her too much in those situations, and she can feel the pressure in that situation, the fear of the person behind, right? I've made loads of videos about that, right? I'll link it below, the fear of the person behind. It's a different story, but that came up as well, okay? Never ever let the person behind you push you forward to go through gaps that aren't big enough, right? Because if you crash, you're going to pay. You also need to slow down to help them know that you can't fit, so they don't go into the back of you when you sharply brake that you realise you can't fit. But that's another story. I'll link below, okay? But when you're coming up to a situation when you're panicking, if you've got the knowledge, if you've got the understanding, if you've got the skill of the car and how to change down and all that stuff, and it's just a confidence thing, right? Then I think it's a good idea to go into those situations and have a plan. So yeah, okay, I'm panicking, but I'm going to switch to my plan. I'm going to stop before the black car to give way. As I drive down the road, I can see that there's a gap on the left that I could use to pull into. I can see that there's a gap on the right. I may need or I could stop where I am to let them into the gap, and then I can continue, or I could stop opposite the gap so they can then come through, which I call the ribbon and the conveyor belt method, right? Which I've put in how to give way on nasty roads, that video that I made, okay? So there's two videos that I'm promoting here: how to give way on nasty roads with the ribbon technique and the conveyor belt technique, where you basically stop, let somebody into the gap on the right, they stop, you go, then you go, or you stop opposite the gap if it's big enough and they can come down and ribbon round, okay? Don't let the person behind you affect you. When you turn into a road, if you're worried about the subject that you've turned into, you need to have a plan. You need to have a strategy, especially when there's parked cars, okay? You need to be like, this is the plan. This is what I could do. And if you stick to that plan, if you're going to stop before the parked black car to give way to somebody, stick to it, because 7 times out of 10, I would say, people are going to come through and take you up on the offer. But if they really don't, and you do stop and they really want to give way, they're going to flash you through or beckon to you anyway, which you are allowed to accept if it's acceptable and safe to do so. You just can't give beckons, as you know. I've run out of time. Go and have a look at those other videos and see if they